Welcome to the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite makes the process of becoming a published, best-selling author as simple as sipping your morning cup of coffee. You can learn more about Authors Unite at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner, and today I have a very special guest. His name is David Beitz. He's partner and co-founder of PlannedGrocery.com. So welcome to the show, David.
Thanks, Tyler. Hope you're doing well.
Of course. I will dive right into the first question. So the first question I have for you is, what's the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Well, back in 2012, I left my job of 14 years at the Eaton's Shopping Center company to try something new with my business partner, George Day, who was also at Eaton's at the time. And almost 6 years later, I can say that we have had a blast, met so many interesting people. And now with the help of Todd Atkins, who is also a business partner, we have this great planned grocery mapping platform that is being used by grocery retailers, shopping center owners, developers, as well as investment banks and hedge funds.
Awesome. And can you actually, just before we go to the next question, can you tell me a little bit more, like what is Planned Grocery? How does it work?
Yeah, so Planned Grocery is a web mapping platform that tracks proposed, planned, under construction, and recently built grocery store locations across the United States. And companies use it basically just to track the competition and to figure out where new development is occurring.
Very cool. Okay. So the next question I have for you is, what's the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
Right. Well, a simple grocery anchored center with some small shop space can easily make a developer over $1 million when you look at the value of the new center minus the cost of land and cost of construction. Our platform shows that on average, there are around 300 grocery stores under construction at any given point in time. So if you think about it, that is a lot of wealth being generated out there.
And what's your best piece of overall business advice? So not necessarily like industry specific.
Yeah, I would say, to don't be afraid to try something new and don't be afraid to fail. If you have a good idea and a good team, there's really a lot that you can accomplish. And then really on a daily practical level, I think that mastering your schedule is really the best thing you can do. Don't be surprised by meetings or events. Lay out meetings and events in a way so that you can still get a lot of good work done during the day.
Do you use, just to dive a little bit more into that, do you use any like specific productivity like apps or software or like planners?
I don't, other than just basically, good old Outlook scheduling.
Gotcha.
I don't really have anything fancy there.
Okay.
But mostly just try to stay really organized with it. And anything that comes in, I make sure that it's on the calendar.
Definitely. And that's really all it takes. I always just like to ask when somebody brings up productivity stuff, if there's any little hacks that you have. So next question is if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
I think I would tell my younger self just to relax more and just to be more patient. I found that a lot of times most news turns out to be not nearly as good or bad as it seems when you first hear it. And I think I would also tell my younger self to buy Bitcoin as soon as I heard about it.
Yes, same here, man. I got in decently early, but I didn't get in when it was like on the pennies, So
right,
that would have been nice. And in your opinion, so to go a little different direction, in your opinion, what's the key to happiness?
I think on a higher level for me, having faith in God gives me peace, in the good times and the bad. But as far as my daily routine, I think I'm happiest when I'm working on something that I think will improve our business, that I think will make the product better, or, getting the word out through marketing or meeting with potential clients and telling them about our product.
And what's the best book you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from it?
I would say Shoe Dog by Phil Knight was just a great book that I read recently. And I think the number one thing I learned is just that when you're building a business, that you'll be surrounded by chaos and things that you can't control, but you really have to stay focused on what you can do and what you can control, and don't get distracted by things that will, waste your time.
I agree. And for everybody listening, I've listened to this book 2 times on Audible, and it is incredible just from like knowledge and the story behind it. I couldn't agree more. It's got to be top 10 books. Like, it's awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
So next one is what's your favorite quote and why?
I would say favorite quote is "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. Is the courage to continue that counts," and that's by Winston Churchill. And I like this because when you're working on something new, when you're working on a new product, it can really become a grind. Things always take longer than you think, to build, and clients always take longer to give you a yes or no. But if you stick with it and plan for the long term, then things can really work out great.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, David. The last question I have for you is, where can people best find you online?
I would say just through our website at plangrocery.com, and you can find out information about our product there, and you can just reach me through the contact form there.
Perfect, man. Thank you again for coming on. We really appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us.
All right. Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Business Blast podcast. And don't forget, if you're interested in a simplified way of becoming a published best-selling author, make sure to check out authorsunite.com. We'll catch you on the next episode.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.